Hey, ladies, welcome to the Women Who Lead Summit. And today it is my honor to introduce you to a truly inspiring and transformative leader. Her name is Cassandra Rosa. Now, Cassandra is a certified coach, a healer, an intuitive business coach whose mission is to help spiritual entrepreneurs find clarity, conquer their fears, and create impactful businesses. And that's why you are here. All of you came to be at the Women Who Lead Summit because you are really looking to create an impactful business. So who better than Cassandra Rosa? Ha ha, hello, right? Her holistic approach addresses the mental, the physical, the spiritual levels, and it's empowering her clients to achieve lasting transformation and success. Now, Cassandra is also an award-winning author of Now What? Create the clarity to achieve your dreams. And it's a powerful guide. It's designed to help people navigate life's pivotal now what moments, right? So I know that I've had many of those moments where I'm like, now I got here. Now what? So she is the host of Conquer, and it's a weekly Instagram live series where she pulls back the curtain on the entrepreneurial journey, showcasing the biggest obstacles that entrepreneurs have overcome. And that's one of the things I really love is that authenticity and the transparency that has to come with that, right? Because there is a lot that goes into being an entrepreneur. It is a spiritual experience and you will go through a lot. But just today, Sandra will share her expertise in her talk, finding clarity on your path to creating an impactful business. So could there be anything better to speak about? Grab your pen, grab a pad, because she's going to guide us through actionable strategies. We're going to gain some clarity. We're going to break through some fears, and we're going to align your vision and your purpose to create that business that leaves a lasting impact. So let's give a beautiful and warm welcome to this amazing human, Cassandra Rosa. How are you?
You're an amazing announcer. I wish I
Oh,
could
thank you.
announce me and introduce me like that all the time. That was awesome.
Listen, whenever you need me, I'll be there for you. Whenever you need me.
Thank-
Cassandra, thank you for being here. I really appreciate you taking the time to do this.
Yeah, I'm excited too because I interviewed you on the Conquer series, which is such a beautiful conversation. So now we're kind of shifting gears and yeah.
Yeah, I love that you do that too, because I think it's really important for people to get the real nitty gritties of what's happening in the entrepreneurial space, because it's not as easy as people think it is, or they have videos telling you how easy it is. And I'm not saying that it's super hard either, but you have to find your purpose and you have to be clear on that. And that's why I wanted you here. A lot of these women are here because they are starting their coaching business or are growing it and they need that guidance, right? So I love that you have taken the time to do that and finding clarity. Well, I mean, that can feel overwhelming, right? And sometimes as entrepreneurs, we're like, well, what is clarity? Right. So I wanted you to take us through some steps, things that you recommend to help us, all of these women here and myself, gain some crystal clear clarity about our business, our vision, our purpose. I would love for you to guide us in that.
Yeah, I would love to. That's what it's all about. So, when you start your entrepreneurial journey, there can be a thought bubble that comes out of your mind and it can have a bunch of question marks in it. I know when I started my journey, that's what happened for me. I was thinking, so what am I creating? I feel this pull to help people, but what is that going to look like exactly? And what are the steps to get there? And I think that's one of the biggest things that stops people from actually starting their business. They have this pull, but all those question marks and those thought bubbles are holding people back to be able to achieve it. So it comes down to a couple things. The first thing is clarity of the vision, clarity of the mission, right? Of what that picture may look like. Because along the journey of entrepreneurship, there can be highs, there can be lows, it's all ever an expansive journey. It's not so like straight down the road. There's lots of twists and turns. So you can evolve, so that you can grow, so you can develop skills to be able to help people along their journey. So if you have a crystal clear vision that motivates you, that ignites this passion inside of you, that will create that resilience every step of the way. So it's really understanding, what is that impactful life, that fulfilling life, that passionate, impactful, driven life look like to you? So you start with the life. You don't start with the business, because you want to have a business that fits into your life, not your business and your life is surrounded around it. So looking at what would your dream day be as an entrepreneur from start to finish, from the habits, from your waking up to the way you're interacting with clients. Because when you're creating a coaching business, it's not one size fits all. There may be people that like self-study courses, one-on-one group coaching. So understanding that vision of what that looks like for you. And then it's really understanding, I have that vision. I know how my day wants to look. I'm kind of understanding the business that I want to create. Okay, what's the mission behind it? So kind of reverse engineering and looking at, okay, what's this past version of myself that needs to know what I know now most? Say that again. What's the past version of me that needs to know what I know now most, right? So you're creating a business and a mission that is surrounded by things that are authentic to you and things that you have mastered, right? The knowledge, the courses that you've taken, the podcasts you've listened to, the things that you have applied, not just heard, but applied in your life that created your transformation. So to give you a practical example with me, it's looking at, okay, so there was a version of me when I started my business that the question mark thought bubble was so big. I felt this pull, but I wasn't really clear of my vision. I was doing this one step forward, two steps back dance because of my fears. And I needed help with the how to bring it into fruition. So that's kind of like the basis of my brand and who I help. So you see it's authentic because it's really connected to you. So when it comes to delivering your business, it can be authentic with your content, that past version of you that needs to know what you know now most. And then it's acknowledging what are the results that you've had and uncovering the journey along the way so you can understand your process. So that's something I guide all my clients through. I have a signature process called the Bridge of Impact that I help my clients go through to be able to understand that customer journey that you're going to embrace. So once you're having that, you're like starting to understand my mission and the journey I want to take people on. I understand who I want to help and where I want to go, but what are the steps? So in my business, I have something I call the circle and start method. So you think of one goal that you want to focus on. So say, for example, it is a social media page. And you ask yourself, when the I don't know is not a part of your vocabulary in that moment, what are the necessary steps that I feel like I'm going to need to take to create a social media page? So you grab a pen and paper and you write them down, no particular order, just get it out. Okay, I need to have a bio, I need to have a profile picture, I need to figure out what posts I want to do, I need to figure out my brain colors, yada, yada. You write it all down. Then you circle the first step you're going to want to take and number off 3 more. You start with the circled ones and then you go 1, 2, 3, focus on those. And then when you're finished with those, you number off 3 more. So you have that momentum of those baby steps. And if there's gaps where you really don't know how to do it, so say you have no idea how to make a reel, cool. I had no idea either. It's all part of the journey. I'm sure Neena didn't either, right? You can know what to ask for help for. So instead of, I don't know how to say a business, I needed someone to walk me through the whole process. It's having something specific that you can go to a business coach. You can go to a life coach and say, hey, this is what I need help with. So you're much more filtered in your search of what kind of content that you're consuming along the way. So in summary, if you're wanting to find the clarity to help with your thought bubble, it's understanding the vision of your life, that impactful life you want to create. It is really important to focus in on that mission by choosing that past version of you that needs to know what you know now, that lights you up. And then it's the circle and start method to start to get those steps written out and that small baby step momentum to get you to where you need to be.
That was so good. And I wrote down a lot of notes, Cassandra, because the clarity of the vision and mission is so important. Here's the key that I really love that you talked about, which was start with your life and not your business. We usually start with our business and then are overwhelmed in our life because we didn't reverse that. Brilliant. That was brilliant. I loved everything you talked about, right? Because those are like knowledge and skill sets and wisdom. And oh my God, girl, you dropped the mic on this. When you're clear, you'll know the steps you need to take, but then you can find someone that maybe knows something you don't know. If we don't know something, I think you should invest. I'm a big believer in investing in yourself. Hire a coach, right? Like if those of you who are listening and you feel like, whoa, Cassandra is the kind of woman that I want to work with, then you need to contact her to do that, because we do need coaches. Coaches need coaches. Therapists need therapists. Doctors need doctors. So don't do this journey alone. It's a very lonely journey. You can be very isolated if you do this alone. So make sure that you do that, because that was wisdom. Thank you so much for that. Thank you.
I have a few things to add. Is that okay?
Yeah, of
So
course.
you're talking about the life in first and then understanding the business. I think too, when we leave corporate, when we're in a 9 to 5 and we're striving to be a full-time entrepreneur, our whole life surrounds by our work.
Yep.
And
Yep.
that's a part of the reason why we want to leave these jobs. Nothing against them, but we're feeling this intuitive pull to step into it, right? So it's kind of like you're rewiring your brain of choosing the life that you want and the business
Mm-hmm.
that fits in it, that is supportive of that in that transition. And that will help with the longevity of business too, because when people are over hustling and they're creating it again, replacing your 9 to 5 with your business in terms of priorities, that's what can lead to a lot of burnout in businesses. And let me tell you, that's what happened to me on my
Yeah, me
journey.
too. That's what happened to me too.
That's really
Yeah.
important. And I
Yeah.
think there's something to be said about the intentionality behind of when you're looking for support, knowing exactly what you need support with. When you have that clarity, again, bringing up clarity of that, you're putting it out there into the universe, whether you realize it or not, and then you'll attract the person that you're longing for.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think, the clarity piece, it can't be overstated. Like, that is really important, because otherwise you're going to get pulled in so many directions that you're not going to get the clarity at all that you need. I know it sounded like an amazing deal. I was doing too many things and then I wasn't clear, right? Same thing happens when you go shopping and you want this one thing, and then you end up like looking at 50 different models and you're like, no, I don't know what I want. Right? It's an overwhelm of the brain, Cassandra. So thank you for the clarity piece. And you also mentioned that fear comes up. And I want to talk about that, right? Because fear is often one of the biggest obstacles for entrepreneurs. I know, even for me to this day, like, so if I'm about to do something different or new or investing a lot, a fear comes in. It just does, right? And so I want you to talk about that, because I want to know how these women who are here, how, as spiritual entrepreneurs, because let's be real, entrepreneurship is a spiritual journey.
Yes.
How can they conquer these fears and really step into what they're trying to create and their power with confidence, as opposed to just yielding to all of the fear that comes in?
Yeah. Okay. So we do a 1 step forward, 2 steps back thing all so many times when we're on the business journey. We might be consistent with posting on socials time and time again. And then all of a sudden, people aren't engaging with me. I'm not getting the likes and comments I want. My page isn't growing fast enough, yada, yada, yada. The monkey mind comes in. Boom. We're stuck again. We're lacking clarity again. We're getting discouraged. This happens on the journey because as we're scrolling on socials, we're seeing the highlight reels, and that comparison is coming in, which ignites a lot of these fears, right? We are doing something we've also never done before. We're in our little bubble. So whenever you leave the bubble, the sirens go on. Wee, let's keep you safe. This is not safe to do these steps. So we don't know it. We don't have the knowledge. So we keep ourselves in our comfort zone. So when you understand that, you can become friends with fear. Fear is not the enemy, my friends. Okay. We might poo poo on ourselves about fear. We might try and avoid the fear and put it over to the side. We may try and ignore it and just put our blinders on. Like, those horses in a race that have the blinders, we might be doing that. But when we acknowledge, okay, you know what? I want to be friends with fear. I really want to understand fear and what triggers it for me. So it's understanding. If you were to do this right now while you're listening, draw a circle on the paper. Doesn't have to be a perfect circle. And imagine you're in the middle of it. Just put a dot that represents you. As you expand the edges, that's when the sirens go off. That's when your monkey mind tries to tell you whatever it needs to say to keep you in the comfort zone. So when you're starting to understand who I'm doing something I've never done before, I am trying to get more clients that I've ever had, I'm making more money than I have in the beginning of my business. When you're expanding and growing, that's when the comfort zone is about to be busted through. And that's when the fears come up. So it's understanding that triggering process is key. It's also creating space to understand your patterns and understanding your fears. So grabbing a journal and writing down what it is that you're feeling. Just vent journal. How are you feeling today? And what fears are coming up for me today? So maybe it's, I don't feel like I'm good enough comparing myself to these people on social. Oh, it's not happening fast enough. Oh, everybody keeps talking about these 10K months. Why can't I if they can, right? Understanding what those thoughts are is so key, because awareness is always the agent to change. So it's really important to have this deep understanding of what these patterns are, because then you're able to shift them. Then you're able to go deep, and you're able to receive support from therapists, from life coaches, doing things like neurolinguistic programming, NLP, to really understand the root, because this is something else important to understand. Our beliefs are created from the moment we're born to 7 years old up until about 13, says scientific research. This comes my psychology background. So imagine when you're born, to some degree, putting aside a lot of the spiritual stuff, you have an empty filing cabinet, right? And we are interacting with so much going on right now. I'm sitting on this chair. I see myself in the screen. I have my water in the peripheral. We're taking in so much information. So our mind has to filter through so much information, right? So we create these big beige files in the filing cabinet, which are our core beliefs. So as we're processing information, the pieces of paper can fit into these files to file it away. So how this is connected to fear, I'm going to explain it to you. If you had a bullying situation when you were in school, okay, when you were a young kid, say 5 years old, and this was something that happened to me. I was bullied for having curly hair, looking different from everyone, right? So I had this thing of playing small is safe. I was about to do something I've never done before. All of these thoughts would come into this file. So the files with all the evidence are getting big and overflowing. Those are the big patterns that can come up as we are living our entrepreneurial journey, because like what Neena said, it's a spiritual experience. It's the biggest personal development experience of your life. That's why it's not for everyone, because not everyone is willing to do the work. So you're having these big files. Unless you remove this big beige file, that deep belief, you heal that bullying situation from childhood, the papers are going to continue to file into there. So it's using different therapy methods, using different tools to be able to heal and release and have closure, so the beige file can be removed and you can create this new file, because you can create new files even in adulthood. Playing big is safe. And then all of the different papers are going to file in there instead. So that will make your whole experience different. So as much as it's about entrepreneurship, a lot of the fears that come up in entrepreneurship actually have nothing to do with it. They're all rooted in the big emotional belief creating experiences that we've had when we were young. So with that being said, conquering your fears, it's understanding the threshold, right? Understanding that threshold, that circle of when your comfort zone is going to be stretched, that's often when the fears come in most. It's understanding a sense of awareness of what are those fears that are coming up, and it's understanding the belief system filing cabinet. So when you have this base information, then you're able to not judge yourself when these fears come up, and you're able to ask for support when these things become uncovered, if you feel stuck in removing them from your subconscious.
That was so good. And I'm a big NLP. I
Mm-hmm.
love NLP. I have a master certification in it because it changed and transformed my life.
Yeah.
Because of that, the filing cabinet, my filing cabinet was all messed up, girl. All messed up. I had a bunch of files, places it didn't need to be. Sometimes I still find those files. I'm like, oh, there's that file. We got to get that sucker out of there. So
You're
I
always
love
going to
that.
find the file.
Always,
Yeah.
for real. I love that, right? And I love the way you describe things too, because I like the comfort bubble analogy. We're just sounding the alarm, if you will. So I love that you talked about that. I love that you talked about creating space to understand what's coming up. Cassandra, if we all just did that, right? You called it the venting journal, right? I think we need to do that more. A lot of us do not take that holistic approach in really taking care of what is coming up. How do we feel? What is it what is in our mind? What is happening right now in our bodies, right? The Body Keeps the Score. That's a great book. And it's a lot of that stuff comes up and we don't know how to deal with this holistically, right? Now, you're talking about transforming people from the inside out, like creating a business on the outside by creating this holistic approach. So I want you to address how we can mentally, physically, spiritually, all of this, how can we use all of these aspects together so that we can, have greater success in our lives, right? Because it's not just about business, but our lives too, and they have to come together. So can you talk to us about that?
Yeah, of course. So you can have the perfect plan about how to post on social media, how to connect with new leads, what kind of course you want, marketing, the whole email, the whole funnel, all of that. But what about the mindset piece? What about if you truly don't believe in yourself? What if you are scared to leave the comfort zone? What if you believe that you're not worthy of success, or you're scared of success and failure, right? These are the big things that come up with people. You might not be able to fully execute the plan and the vision, right? If you're spiritually feeling out of whack and you have no faith in anything, whatever you resonate with, you do not trust yourself and the divine, and not having this co-creative experience, you are going to have, again, resistance, because you're going to be impatient. You're going to be manifesting. You're going to sit at the end of the chair and you're going to be like, okay, where's my next client? Where's my next client? Why isn't anybody getting my free guides to get the funnel so that they can follow me? And right, getting in these loops, right? So when you are able to address things with understanding your vision, having a plan, so you're in momentum, right? And you are truly believing in yourself, and you spiritually have this faith that guides you in your path. All of those elements together creates this sense of alignment instead of disconnection. So it's like you're walking with your head and your body and your 2 feet, and you're working together. If you broke your leg and you're using crutches, it's going to be a little bit more of a bumpy process, right? So when you're connecting all these parts of yourself and you're in this uttermost alignment, then you're able to enjoy the journey with the tops and turns that come with entrepreneurship, because it's the most fulfilling and most amazing experience of your life. And it's also the biggest personal development journey of your life. You are able to enjoy this process, uncover the lessons, and make this lasting impact for people. So it can't be one without the other. It has to be all together for complete alignment and momentum in bringing your vision to life.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, right? Your vision to your plan, to your beliefs, to the faith that guides you. And that is really important, because alignment is important. And I know that for me, when I first started, I did struggle to balance my spiritual beliefs and practices with running a practical demand that my business needed, right? That's always been something that I thought were two different things. And so I kept my faith out of it, and I hit the wall all the time with
Yeah.
my business. And I did that for a very long time. And so I'm wondering if you can kind of give us some really like strategic ways to actually do what you just talked about, right?
Yeah.
Some practical steps that these women can take on balancing their spiritual practice with their actual practical demands of running their business successfully.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So before we get into the practice, I'm going to share a part of my story. So I became a full-time entrepreneur in 6 months. I was working 6 days a week doing like sales and marketing for a big coffee company. And then I became a full-time entrepreneur because I replaced my income. In the beginning of those months, I was going through the motions. I was working with a business coach. Things started, it was kicking off well, and then I just plateaued. And I'm like, so I ended up having this personal spiritual journey going on behind the scenes of learning meditation and learning about angel cards and connecting with my spiritual side inside of me. And I had some angel cards off to the side of a session one day. And while I was there with my client, I kept staring at the cards, and I asked her, would you be willing to like try something new and have a card reading with me? We did it. She fell in love with it. And it felt good to be in this complete, again, alignment of who I was and authentic to me in the journey. So I started to sprinkle these aspects in and then call myself an intuitive life coach, which really scared the bejesus out of me in the beginning, because I was like, oh my gosh, people are going to know this part of me. But then once that happened, the alignment happened. So it's really about embracing all sides of yourself, because that's what makes you unique. And that's what makes people want to work with you. I actually had a call with someone the other day, and she goes, you know, there's so many coaches out there, but I love how intuitive you are, right? So fully stepping into the version of yourself that you truly are in your heart, not just parts, can really help with attracting clients. But when it comes to the practicality of balancing your spirituality and balancing your business, spiritual is a non-negotiable. It's about having those firm boundaries and that accountability within yourself of those key elements and those key things that fill your cup in overflow. Because when you're in overflow, you're able to just allow it, just drips over all of your light, your energy, right? Your nourishment goes into everyone else. So starting your day with your favorite practices, whether it's spiritual practices, it's mindset practices, it's connecting with your vision so that you are just really good and ready to go. An example of this, I have my vision board here beside me. So I do some connection to my vision of my life and business that I was talking about. As I start my day, I see some affirmations for my mind to really help me to nourish that. I pull some oracle cards for myself and do a meditation. So again, I have something in all areas of my life before I do step into my business. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling at 100%. And that is just something that my clients will just reap the rewards of. Because when you're talking about women who lead, if you lead from that place of just fully being you and overflow, then that is what helps you to become a really dynamic leader.
I love that so much because it is about embracing all sides of yourself. I love that you said that. I think most of us, I don't know, you probably went through this. I went through this where when I became a 100% entrepreneur, I thought that the past was the past. Forget about it. Let me start learning everything new now from scratch, which of course starts giving you like imposter syndrome and you don't think you're good enough. And then you're like, now what? What do I do now? I don't understand. Where am I going? And it wasn't until I embraced, listen, I'm a Christian. That's who I am. And I can't hide it. I don't want to hide it. It's a big part of my life. And that's when all the right situations started to happen. I'm not saying it's all bed of roses, but when you embrace who you are completely, you're okay if it's not a bed of roses.
Yeah.
Right. So you are the author of Now What, right? How women can navigate their own now what. Right. So I want to know now what, right? So now these women are here and they're hearing what you have to say and stuff. But now that since you're the author of Now What, I want you to really help these women navigate their own now what moments
Mhm.
and use them as a springboard to really start creating these businesses that they want to create. Can you lead us through your now what?
Yeah, for
Yeah, I
sure.
love that. Thank you.
So I'll say a little bit about my story first. So when I was a young girl, I knew I wanted to make a difference in the world. I didn't know what that meant. I thought maybe I'll be a teacher or I'll be a psychologist. I went to school for psychology. Halfway through my degree, I had a now what moment. Now what moments are those moments of confusion, lack of clarity. You're in this transitional phase from closing one chapter and beginning another, and you say, now what? So I was feeling complete with like the traditional schooling system. And I thought, I don't want to be in school for another 12 years in this process. So I felt this pull to kind of help people, but didn't know what that meant. So I was so anxious, so lost, so confused, thinking, what am I going to do with my life? I ended up going to class one day. There was this international woman coming and speaking about going to do a semester abroad. I did that. And when I got back, I had the travel bug and I went to Namibia, Africa, and volunteered in an after school program with kids. Fell in love with mentorship so deeply, and just had that be a springboard, have that be something that really allowed me to have this driving force even deeper than I had before. And within a short stint in the corporate world and insurance, I ended up accidentally or not so accidentally falling into the personal development industry. It changed my life and it was a way to impact others and help others do the same. So if you're in this now what moment, whether it's career change, whether it's schooling or trying to find your path, you have a bad breakup, you're having a quarter life crisis, a midlife crisis, it all is the same thing. We have a bunch of now what's, the big ones and the small ones of that lack of clarity of what those moments may be. So the first thing to navigate it is to sit in the gratitude for the now what moment. And you're like, Cassandra, like, what are you talking about here? Being grateful for this now what moment, finding gratitude in the season that you're in, finding gratitude in this transition, because these now what moments are the most transformational moments of your life that will allow you to get on the right path. So we've been talking a lot about path in this talk here today. Imagine like you're taking a path and you're getting kind of towards a dead end. You're like, oh, where's this going? And then there's like a shift in direction. There's like a fork in the road with a couple options. Having that now what moment gives you that power to choose your path. So when you sit in the gratitude for this plot twist, for this change in direction, for the chapter that you once had, right? Let's say it's a relationship thing, being grateful for all the memories and lessons that you had, the gratitude for the career that you're in that's no longer serving you, you're open to receiving the clarity of what are your next steps. So it's kind of applying what we're talking about in clarity in the first part here of understanding that vision and what that looks like. Again, mindset, focusing in on your mindset of, hyping yourself up, being your own hype woman to be able to create that transition, and then simple steps to be able to create that momentum. So it's a very similar process. And in the book, I share a lot of stories, but then I also have this very interactive kind of workbook style book to embrace. So that's a sneak peek of what's included. But the gratitude piece is really, really, really important, because when you're going through a time that you feel very lost and uncertain, when you're getting into that gratitude energy, it's an instant expander and can open you up to the possibilities to say yes to find your new path.
Oh my gosh, yes. I mean, for me, gratitude completely transformed my life. I don't know what I would be or where I would be without gratitude. So there was times where, I was homeless and I had to be trying to find how am I going to be grateful for this. And I did. I found how to be grateful. And if you wake up every day with that on your heart first you're probably going to wake up with I'm tired on your mind. But like right after you get through that one, gratitude is a game changer, Cassandra. That really helps people to expand and to know that there is so much more beauty in things in life than what your icky thing is right now. Right. Before we wrap up, I know that you have a great gift for these women. So I would love for you to tell them what that is and how they can get it and how they can connect with you. I really want all that stuff for them. All
Yeah.
right.
So I'm happy to share that. So I'm happy to gift you the Confident Entrepreneur Journal. It has 22 journal prompts to help you to move through the self-doubt, the fear, the imposter syndrome, and finally start your business. So we're talking about mindset, we're talking about entrepreneurship, we're talking about journaling. So this is a beautiful resource for you to be able to apply that, to bring all these things up to light so you're able to release them and let go and finally start taking action. If you resonate with me and my style of coaching and everything I brought through here, you're welcome to connect with me on Instagram. My handle is Cassandra Rosa A. Send me a message, say that you came from here, and let's chat, let's talk. I have a plethora of different resources from over the years, whether it's podcasts, whether it's my Facebook group that I can send you towards to help you with the momentum. And then you can check out my website to see what my offers are at the moment as you're watching this. It's CassandraRosa.com, and you'll find podcasts on there. You'll find a bunch of free resources, including the Confident Entrepreneurial Journey Journal. And yeah, that's it for me.
Oh, thank you so much. This has been such a blessing. You've left so many gems. You know what I love about you? The way you frame things, like the way you see them and the way, oh, that's a good way to say that. I just love that. I love all these little gems. I can't wait to rewatch this because it's going to be amazing. And so thank you so much, Cassandra, for taking the time and, wanting to be here and having me on your show and all that great stuff. It was super fun. I'm really grateful to you, and I'm grateful to all of the women who are here just pouring in and receiving all of the beauty of this. So thank you for doing that. I appreciate you
I
so
appreciate
much.
you and all your kind words and for this opportunity. It means so much. And for everyone watching, really take some time to sit in gratitude for Neena for putting
Mhm,
this together
mhm.
with all these beautiful,
Thank you.
so much time and effort and energy invested into this. And it's such a pleasure to be here and collaborate with you.
Just the beginning. Yes, girl. Guys, thank you so much for being here. I'm going to make sure that you do have access to everything Cassandra has for you and also the way for you to connect with her. Now, all of you have already received emails telling you about this, but also she has her own like link with her bio and everything on there that you can just click on and get what it is she's offering you. So thank you for being here. Thank you for being part of the Women Who Lead Summit. It has been a labor of love, but I'm having so much fun just meeting amazing human beings like Cassandra who are out here pouring out their knowledge for you with no strings attached, just wanting for you to grow and expand what it is you're bringing to the world. So thank you guys for being here. This is Neena Perez, Women Who Lead Summit. Until next time.